Coming up on this week's show, Xbox shadow drops a Game of the Year contender with Hi-Fi Rush, along with deep dive trailers of Forza Motorsport, Minecraft Legends PvP, The Elder Scrolls Online, and Redfall. Hello friends and welcome to the Weekend Catch-Up Club podcast, the coffee morning show brought to you every week where friends hang out and chat about some of the latest stories going on in the industry. You can follow the show on all your favourite platforms or watch the video version over on youtube.com/gamertagged. This is episode 92 and joining me as always is the man with the personality of a can of orange tango. He is not in his loungewear today folks, he's the king of the tangent. It's James McClellan.
Good morning. So you say that, but I have Superman pyjama trousers on and my dressing gown wrapped around me. So this is all a front.
See?
It's a lie.
So upstairs for business, downstairs for partying. That's what it is.
That's always been my motto, yes.
Whatever goes on underneath the desk, we don't want to know. Jamie, we just let our imaginations run rampant.
We just
With
wish
the
you
amount
well.
of mess under there, you really don't want to know.
Yes. And joining us in the co-host hot seat, all the way from Hobbiton, Middle Earth, is none other than the voice from beyond. You've heard her in titles like Rollerdrome and Goat Simulator 3. It's the ethereal, the spooky, the immensely talented Sarah Lynham.
Hello, hello, hello. Or I should say, kia ora from New Zealand.
Wow. So tell us about what life is like being back in the homestead.
I mean, it's great. I've basically almost exclusively caught up with family while I've been back, which has been really lovely because I haven't seen a lot of them since 2019, which was the last time I came back to New Zealand.
Wow.
So that's ages ago. In particular, like having not seen my mum since then has been a big deal. So it's been really lovely. And as you can see from my delightful backdrop, this is the bedroom in which I'm staying. It's not my childhood bedroom, just in case anyone was wondering, because otherwise it would just have posters of, pop stars from the time. Think Peter Andre, Spice Girls, that sort of thing.
I was going to ask,
no.
where's all the smash hits 80s edition posters and things like that? Yeah.
Sadly, my mum has moved house a couple of times since I was a kid, so this is the guest bedroom, and I'm an adult now, so I don't get fancy posters on the wall.
Yeah, the little single bed which you're way too tall for now.
Right? Yeah. And my feet just hang off the end. Yeah.
Oh goodness, I'm so jealous. New Zealand, wow,
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the bucket list vacation spots I would love to go to and just experience.
And you should.
It's such
You
a
absolutely
beautiful country,
should.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is amazing. And it's summer at the moment, although we have been having some flooding issues in Auckland. Where my mum lives, where I'm staying at the moment, is about 3 hours drive south. So we're on the coast though, so we have had a lot of rain. The last couple of days has been like absolutely bucketing down with rain, and I'm like, I don't remember it ever being like this in the summer in New Zealand, but we did have some really good days, and it should hopefully clear up tomorrow. We're really hoping, because on Tuesday we're meant to be flying to Rarotonga, so we're going to a little island paradise, which will be very fancy, very lovely.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
Super jelly, man. Jamie, we're gonna have to make a pilgrimage to New Zealand at some point, like all the Lord of the Rings locales. They must have like an official sightseeing tour of all the locations where they filmed the movies, right? That has to be.
Here's the thing, they are missing out on that, but I actually own a book that has all the GPS locations for all the places you can go. So
nice.
So I could be like, okay, cool. So we're going here to reenact the bit where the hobbits are all hiding underneath the tree and the Nazgul is like there, and I'm like, I'm going to that tree. Yeah, it's great. It literally gives you the pinpoint places to go to so that you can go and stand and go, get off the road, quick!
It's like, mushrooms, this kind of stuff, yeah.
I read somewhere that some of the areas in New Zealand were not particularly happy with the amount of footfall that they thought it would bring, which I get. Except I saw something. I can't remember where I saw it, but there was something online. It's like people saying, "Oh yeah, this is going to bring too many people to this area," and it was a tourist town. And I thought,
what?
there's something you're missing a trick here somewhere. I'm pretty sure. Like you've got the perfect way to bring people to your town, which already does tourism. I will need to look it up and see if I can find the details on it. But I remember because we have similar stuff here to a degree in Kintyre where I am. The amount of times that you get people complaining, it's like we just don't want them. There's just too many of them coming into the area and coming in and buying our knickknacks and eating in the restaurants and
how dare they
and bringing money to the area that we desperately need. And I'm like, you're a fucking tourist location.
Yeah,
but
yeah. The entire economy is built on footfall for the local community.
We just don't want their feet.
Bloody tourists! How
can
dare
hover.
they? Yeah, I mean, I can understand it if you live in the city of Edinburgh, it is a real pain in the ass at the time of the Edinburgh Festival. It can be, but at the same time, it is incredibly wonderful to see all of the arts from all over the world come to the city of Edinburgh. They put on and be part of the Edinburgh Festival or the Fringe. And I can understand why locals just say, we're just going to Airbnb our house or our apartment for a month and just get the fuck out of Dodge because it's just we can't handle the tourists. But at the same time, they're coining it. They're literally printing money to let out their apartment for that like 2-3 weeks or whatever it is. God damn.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, we have a really cool show planned for our audience today. Sarah, you're going to be talking to us about The Last of Us HBO show because Jamie and I don't have Now TV or Sky, or I certainly don't. I can't really speak for Jamie. So we haven't watched the first 2 episodes, but you have, and you're an Uber fan, and you've been so hyped for this show. So we're going to get your deep dive, impressions, thoughts, geeking out all about those first 2 episodes. And of course, what to expect for episode 3, because I'm aware of the Twitter furore, fanboying, fangirling, whatever, of which character could be cropping up in episode 3. So we'll get into that. We also have the Xbox Developers Direct, which was a new format, short format-ish presentation, kind of like the Sony State of Plays or the Nintendo Directs, but now Xbox are doing their own version of it. It was really cool to see them embracing that new format and giving the developers their chance to talk about their games. And there was obviously 4 games in particular we dove into. So we'll talk a lot about that. We're also going to be talking about the Dead Space remake because it's January and the game is out. I'm going to be gushing like crazy about that. And for a little bit of a fun topic, maybe to wrap up or something like that, or we'll throw it in at some point, is GoldenEye 007. The game that came out on the N64 is back. So I'm going to hand it over to Sarah to kick us off with HBO's The Last of Us. The first 2 episodes are out. And also, I didn't realize this, but the first episode is available to watch for free on the YouTube. If you go to, I think it's the Sky channel, Sky Atlantic or something, you can watch the first episode. Clearly, it's a subscription baiting strategy to say, well, you've got the first episode, you can't stop there, guys. Take out a sub right now and continue.
Give you a little taste.
Exactly.
Give you a little taste.
Exactly. So, Sarah, over to you. Holy crap. Tell us all about it.
Oh my goodness. I mean, yeah, as everyone knows, I have been anticipating this for a long time, and The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2 are just amazing video games as they are. So there was like a lot of pressure for these to be good, and, you know, some of the previous games that have been made into films or into TV shows, it's been a bit like, oh, I haven't quite nailed that. Not in this case, though. Oh my goodness, they have absolutely nailed it. And like, okay, so I know that there's a lot of things that people are getting upset about, but like, I genuinely think the changes that they've made they just make sense. Like, one of the main ones that people are getting upset about is the fact that the way that the zombies or the virus works, the fungus works, is not a spore kind of like situation, so you can't just catch it in the air, because the problem with that is that literally everyone would have it. Like, it would just be everywhere. It's not the same as in a video game where you can just, in this particular area you can put on a mask, you can walk through it, and that's how you get through it. it would just be everywhere. So it makes sense that it's more of a sort of like these terrifying, creepy like tendrils that like climb out of the mouth of and they are so grim, but like so good that the creature acting in it is absolutely sensational. The clickers, the first moment you meet the clickers, which is in the second episode, and Joel is trying to get Ellie to be quiet, and the entire scene is done like just him talking and trying to give her like motions to explain that these things are blind. So she's like, he's like sort of looking at his eye and like mouthing words to her, and then they sort of start appearing, and you just hear, there's so many like little moments before it where you're like, oh no, clickers are coming. Oh no, that's fine. It's just the door creaking. Oh no, that's just his foot creaking on the stairs. And then you're like, oh no, that's actually them. Oh god. And
Jamie adding his sound effects there as well. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
It's so immersive.
I know. Wow.
But oh my goodness, it is like insanely good. And Pedro Pascal is amazing. Like I can't think of anyone else that could have been Joel in the way that he's done it. And the first episode is almost like identical to the very start of the game. There's a couple of really nice little additional bits that build on the characters. You get to meet his daughter a lot more, and I even though I knew exactly what was going to happen to her, I still cried, and I watched the first episode twice because I made my mum watch it as well. And I was like, Mum, you need to watch this. And yeah, I cried again when I saw it happen again. I just think that his performance is just insanely good, and this is like in the first 20 minutes of the first episode, and
wow.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, and I just think the casting is just so well done. I think Tess is amazing. The end of episode 2 is slightly different. That's more there's zombies chasing them instead of the Fedra agents, which is slightly different. And they've changed quite a few things, I guess.
Okay.
But the feel of it is the same. The emotion and the performance, which is like, I think what makes The Last of Us so good, is there in spades, and it is just I everyone needs to watch it. They absolutely do, to the point where we got Now TV before we left the UK to watch episode 1, and then we got to New Zealand and realized that Now is not a thing. We had to sign up to the New Zealand version, which is called Neon. So I was like, Mum, you need to sign up to this thing because I need to watch it.
So now you need to stay in New Zealand for the entire run of the TV show. You just have to say, I'm not coming back to the UK. I need to stay here for 9 weeks until The Last of Us is done because you've got the sub there.
That's it. Yeah. That's it now. Yeah. I'm sorry. Stop making a TV show so good, damn it.
I know. Or just get all the episodes out in one hit. Thank you. Just drop it all.
Yeah. Yeah, because then people could do that cheeky thing where they just sign up for the 7-day free trial and just binge watch.
Yeah, totally.
I would never.
But you raise a really interesting.
I've never.
You raise a really interesting point here about people taking issues with the changes. They don't seem to grasp that an adaptation is going to change things whilst retaining the core, but things can change. That is creative freedom. That is adaptation. Mm-hmm. And I actually really like the fact that they've changed the spores, because if you really delve into the original, I guess, lore behind the cordyceps and the infection and everything, it sounds cool initially. You're like, oh my God, that's actually really quite terrifying and really clever. But then you think, because it's airborne, that doesn't make any sense, because everybody would have it. It would just be everywhere. It would spread everywhere. It can't be contained. So that change makes a lot of practical, I guess, scientific sense, because you may catch it, you may not catch it, but it's more kind of a tendril network. And there's something about a tendril network, Jamie, that is fucking terrifying and horrible and disgusting.
Yeah, just as a name, that's pretty fucking unnerving, isn't it? Just like the tendril network. Like, it doesn't...
Yeah. Yeah.
I
know. And if you're in the camp of, why are they changing this? I this is not what I wanted. Yeah, but the game is so cinematic already that you've got that cinematic experience. That doesn't have to be the live action version. You know, the live action version is an adaptation and it enhances it. It changes some things. It's giving a different experience, but just as rich, just as powerful. And we've still got the game if you want the original source to see where it all came from. This is something different and something new. And it is going to give Sarah a different experience that's just as terrifying and fresh, because you don't want to watch every single episode knowing exactly what the beats are, what's going to happen, and then you're kind of bored. You're like, this is cool, this is great to see, but there's nothing for me because I know the story so well. So change it up, make it a different experience to bring in new audiences, and then you've got 2 different experiences for The Last of Us Part 1, you know? And I'm all for that. And I am itching. The FOMO is so real. I badly want to watch it, but I've said to Jess, look, as much as the 1 episode per week thing annoys us, we're going to wait. We're going to wait till it's all done. I know the story, so there's not really any like major surprises or spoilers that can happen in the Twitterverse or anything like that. So we're going to wait till it's all done, and then we'll just watch it all over a weekend, and we'll do that route. But it's difficult because the rumours of episode 3 and Bill's character, Nick Offerman, of course playing Bill, is going to be potentially introduced. Could be amazing casting, right? Super amazing. And I really want to see what they do with expanding out all the little subplots and threads and environmental storytelling. I really hope that... so, Jim, you haven't played the game, so there's a section, kind of, maybe 2/3 of the way through, Sarah, where you go into this kind of like sewer system, but it's being converted into a haven for survivors. But tragedy had struck, a clicker got in and basically killed everybody. And it's the character of Ish. And I'm really hoping that they actually maybe show the whole story, but actually introduce Ish as a character. You know, to actually maybe see that subplot play out or something like that. Again, that's a way to enhance the source material and make it, you know, bigger than what was possible for the game of its time, you know. So there's like potential to just branch out and make it bigger than what the game gave us in a lot of situations is really powerful, I think. But at the same time, I don't know if I'm ready to see certain scenes live action. I don't know if my heart can take it.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. I think even in the first episode, the amount that they expanded on the relationship between Joel and his daughter, like that, even though it isn't really, you know, it kind of fuels the way that his relationship builds with Ellie. But aside from that, it's a plot device. But they built on it so nicely, and that's the sort of stuff I'm looking forward to in the later episodes, how they're going to develop the characters more, like you say, reach outside of the universe that they already have and just build on it. And it's going to be so good. You just need to, I was going to say, you just need to watch it with me, but you don't have to. It's fine. You can binge watch it. But I'll probably, when you get to that point, I'll be like, right, I'm going to watch it all again. Or you can like message me at each episode and be like, where are you at? What bit have you just seen? Oh my God. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, watch party! Yeah, watch party would be amazing actually. So when it's all out, we'll try and get a watch party going or something, because that'd be great. So good. So do you think the caliber of the team behind it are just firing on all cylinders, and they've really invested like a ton of production quality into it? Obviously, it's the team that gave us Chernobyl, which is a phenomenal miniseries.
So good,
you know? Yeah.
I think what they've done is just like everything is, it feels like it comes from such a place of passion, and the fact that they've got Neil Druckmann involved, I think, is probably the most important thing. So they have someone there who knows the universe inside and out, and who is making sure that the choices that they're making that are outside of what we already know are things that are real and would feel right for those characters to be doing or experiencing, or you know, ways of embellishing on those. So I think, I mean, Chernobyl was insanely good, and watching that and seeing the artistry of what they put forward and seeing how that's coming through with The Last of Us is, oh man, just go and watch it if you've not watched it. Go watch that first episode and then be like, oh, well, I guess I'm going to give my money to Now TV then.
Well, yeah, this is the problem, right? I really do want to watch the first episode, but then I'm like, shit, now I'm going to have to, I can't wait for 10 weeks.
That's that Pringles can. Don't open that Pringles can, man.
I know. And of course, the news just broke that season 2 has been confirmed, and Neil Druckmann also confirmed that season 2 is going to be following part 2, the game.
Have you seen some of the the casting, tease casting pictures they keep putting up on Twitter? Like they say, oh, maybe this person, and none of it's confirmed. It's just to get the rumor mill going, fun. But it's really fun. Yeah, it's great.
Gosh, yeah. I mean, talk about first episodes. So the first few minutes or first half hour or something like that of the first game drops a heart-wrenching clanger, Jamie. I'm not going to spoil it for you. But then the same thing happens, or the same kind of clanger happens in part 2 as well. So if you think about translating that to live action, both of these seasons are going to open with the most gut-wrenching opening episodes that we've probably ever seen in a live action drama. Wild.
Yeah. It's amazing.
I know. Gosh. Anyway, let's bring Jamie into the conversation here.
I've just been. I'm going to watch it. So I am going to watch it. I've decided, without having a clue what the hell is going on regarding, whether I'm going to be in a nice position of watching it without trying to compare it to existing material and just go, this is a good TV show. Yeah. They should make a game out of this. So yeah, I'll be well. Didn't
that character appear in Fortnite and now they've got their own game? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. I tell you what, it is interesting. Just as a sort of a relevant aside, adapting stuff. You said about adapting stuff and people complaining about changes. Obviously, I'm a huge D&D nerd and love Critical Role, and I've watched the first series of Legend of Vox Machina animated. I haven't started the second series yet, but the first series of that, there were things that they did that are different from the story slightly. But I mean, the story they told in that was a group story concocted by people on the fly while playing Dungeons and Dragons. And there were little bits of it that going back that if you try and tell that as a cohesive narrative, makes no sense to try and do. It just wouldn't work. So they tweak things. And there were people complaining about that. I said, what did you want them to do? Just animate over the top of the existing sound?
Yeah.
Or something. People will always have some issue with some changes, but they have to be made to make things work. And as long as I've always said anything that still has the feel, it's like the Kelvin timeline of Star Trek. I don't care how many complaints it gets. It feels like Star Trek. I'm in. So it's that as long as you keep that feel and don't really screw with something important from the story that is going to, really spin it off down a different leg of the trousers of time, as Terry Pratchett would say, then you're fine. So.
I agree. I totally agree. So anyway, next topic then has to be the Xbox Developer Direct. This was a really great new format for Xbox. They showed off Forza Motorsport, the next game, which is coming out this year. Rumored that it's going to be before June, but it was a little bit disappointing that we didn't get an actual confirmed date for that. But there was plenty of news about the Elder Scrolls Online. The next big expansion is Necro. So Necromancy is coming to Elder Scrolls Online, Jamie. You're going to have to jump into this MMO with me and hold my hand through the world of MMOs. But also, every single expansion pack up to this point is free on Game Pass. And I didn't realize how many there were. There were like 50 expansion packs or something.
Yeah,
the lifespan of TSO, TESO, it's kind of abbreviated as, and you think, okay, maybe it's time to actually give it a second swing. Maybe it's time to jump in and see exactly what it's like and be a red guard or be an orc or be a high elf or a wood elf or all kinds of shit going on. But that was super obviously impressive. They also showed off one for you, my friend. Minecraft Legends gets a new PvP game mode. I want to get your thoughts on that. And a surprise mic drop, shadow drop of a game from Tango Gameworks called Hi-Fi Rush. I'm going to be talking a little bit about that. And of course, Redfall continues to look absolutely fantastic. That Left 4 Dead kind of vibe, but it's in the world of the supernatural vampires and stuff. And that has to be one that we all get together and do our Scooby Gang impressions of. It's gonna be so good. So anyway, Jamie, tell us all about Minecraft Legends new mods. What did you think?
It's so strange. It's so strange because what comes from what is essentially a big Lego set, which is how I always thought of Minecraft. And Minecraft for me was always about two things, which is what can I build in it, and how long can I stay alive in it with my mates. Like, because survival mode on your own is great, but with friends is really good. But Legends, like the fact they're building, you have there's a story to Minecraft now. This is what I can't get over. There is lore, and there is a story, and there is and we've got these great bad guys and these different bits and pieces that we've built up through the years of playing it. So now they're telling a tale, and you get to go out, and they've added PvP, which is fucking insane. So I confess I haven't full disclosure, I haven't actually caught the full trailer yet. It has been a very interesting week for me. So I feel like I've missed bits and pieces, but so I went back and read someone else's deep dive on how it all worked, because I was just like, I haven't had time to sit and actually ingest a video. Yeah. So, but I could do words. And yeah, it's looking interesting. There was always a part of me that's slightly reticent when it comes to Minecraft games beyond Minecraft, because of the I'm going to bring up the notes that I had on the thing. And
it does look impressive though, because it's much bigger than what I was expecting. Because there's like base building, obviously, because the world of Minecraft is all about creating your own worlds and environments and everything. But it's like there's trebuchets, you can invade, you can destroy other people's castles, and it feels like a real-time strategy game where you're sending your army in to invade and destroy the other players' bases. And I mean, I'm not a Minecraft guy at all, but I was thinking, man, this is hugely ambitious. And the fact that you can all have your own armies and just go at it with each other for dominance, I guess, in the world of Minecraft. It's like, okay, that's actually really, really quite cool. And you can tell the passion from the developers of this game. Whilst they're making this, they're like, man, we get so many surprises. When we're playing this game, we have no idea which direction the match is going to go in. It's so unpredictable. It's so ridiculous, but it's a lot of fun. And even I was like, I don't want to play Minecraft because I can't get sucked in to another epically deep rabbit hole that Alice keeps falling down into. I can't do that. There's too many. There's too much stuff. I don't have the bandwidth or the headspace to invest in this kind of stuff. So, but I can appreciate for the fans just how good that this is going to be for them. And of course, Jamie's one of them.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, I've managed to get my notes to load as well. It's a bad PC day apparently. It's got that sort of tower defensey type feel against friends. Yeah, it's sort of tower defensey RTS type kind of feeling to it. Anything works when it comes to Minecraft, because over the years in Minecraft, everything has been incorporated into Minecraft. Like, there's a lot of PvP players from Minecraft. You've got a lot of servers which are built around PvP from all sorts of different types of games. I cannot remember the term they use for it, but one of the funniest ones is like, you'll see people playing where they have to shoot out layers of wool so that players start falling through that, and everyone's running around with bows and arrows, and it's insanity. Like, it's great fun. So it's kind of a no-brainer, really, if you're going to build a game from Minecraft's lore to include PvP, because you know that the player base that are going to pick it up are guys who want to play that kind of thing anyway and send armies against each other and defend their towers and that. But we've also got that every Minecraft wants to build his little patch and look after it, and you get that on servers as well, like griefers aside. So I think they've taken a sort of a core element of playing on a big Minecraft server and looking after your little bit, and condensed it into hey, why don't you, instead of worrying too much about you're looking after your little bit, why don't you just go and smash the crap out of someone else's? And here's the resources to do it. And again, like the idea of like defending the overworld and bringing it all together and that sort of thing in the story that they're building is brilliant, because you do have bad guys in Minecraft, and you do meet the piglins and the pillagers and all of this, but they're not out to get you. They're just mobs. They're just aggressive. So they don't have like a driving intelligence of this is our. I mean, you with the pillagers somewhat, because they have their towers, but then if you just walk away from the towers, they'll leave you alone, and there's things like that. So again, it's nice to have that, because there's some interesting. Pillagers are my particular favourite, because it's basically just that villager but with a crossbow. But piglins are great. They're weird, and you find them in the Nether, particularly. In the Nether, you find piglins defending. Can't remember the name of them. Bastions,
right?
Which are these big Nether fortresses and things like that. And so the idea seems to be from Legends that we're going to bring together the mobs and characters of the overworld to defend against these horrible buggers who live in what is Minecraft's version of hell. And yeah, it's a great concept, because it gives us something that we've missed in Minecraft for ages, which is that feeling of a big bad out there hiding, as opposed to something to hunt. I think that's what it is. It feels like now it's like you go after the Wither, you go after the End Dragon, you go after the Bastions to try and get the resources out of it. But as long as you prepare yourself and you know what you're doing, and there's so many tips and strats out there for how to take down these baddies, that as long as you keep yourself prepared, you're done. This has a story reason to why they're coming after you, and why you need to unite the overworld as the keyword they keep using. I'm very excited. They're just very, very excited.
It's great to see you excited and not commiserating or ranting about Halo. For once, you know,
hey, I've forgiven Halo mostly to a point.
Yeah, it works now. Like anyway, I'm not gonna go down this rabbit hole. We're on the
stop.
We were on the tipping point of going into the Halo Infinite rabbit hole there, but let's just move swiftly on. Sarah, Redfall got a deep dive as well. That was the next one, kind of up on the showcase. Are you excited for Redfall as much as Jamie and I are?
I mean, yeah. I any opportunity to play something new, and now I have Game Pass, so I can actually play these things. Like, that's the kind of biggest thing for me, because originally I was like, oh, I don't really need to watch this, do I? Because I'm not going to be able to play any of these games. And I went, wait, hang on a second. Hang on a second.
You've got a gaming PC Pass. Now.
I got my gaming PC. I'm going to be ready for this now. So, it's terrifying, though, because it's now opened up a whole new can of delicious gaming worms of things that I can now play. And also, I just think it's really cool that they've had their own showcase, though, you know, as similar to the State of Play. I just think it's really nice to get the chance to, and also anything straight from developers is great, isn't it? Because it just feels so much, feels nice to get stuff direct.
It does, and I always feel that hearing directly from the creators of something is always going to be more authentic, more passionate, more just kind of excitement inducing, rather than a PR person like regurgitating, okay, tell me about why you designed this. No, hear from the designer and hear their process and hear why they're working late hours, doing probably crunch, and to deliver something that they are so friggin' hyped about and so excited about. And honestly, Arcane Studio is one of my favorite developers. Of course, they did the Dishonored series, they did Prey, they recently did Deathloop, and now this is their big one. This is their big new, I guess, departure. Very much a departure. I think it's still going to have the systemic style of game design where you can approach it how you want to approach it, but again, very different tonally. And it's just hugely exciting. And I don't know if this is true or not, but I think I read a rumor or something that it was actually id Software that were helping out on the shooting mechanics of it. So like the gunplay, I think they were consulting or they were actually doing some of the development work of it. Don't hold me to that. I may have just been like a throwaway statement that I just picked up and thought, oh, I hope that's true, because if that is true, you know that it's going to just feel absolutely amazing. It's going to feel so good to fire stakes from your gun, or fire your UV light grenades and things like that, and it just looks amazing. And like some of the encounters that they showed, like taking down, what was it? It was like these giant, like dark heart things with the tentacles, like going into like a mega tree heart kind of thing. That again, like end game objective mission design, that kind of stuff could be absolutely freaking epic. I don't know if there's any word yet on how many players it is. I'm hoping for a minimum of 4. I hope they don't do the really frustrating, there's only 3 people in a fire team. I hate that. Like every developer seems to be doing the 3-person thing. Why? What was so bad about 4? What happened to 4? Borderlands still has 4. Destiny brought 3 in, then every fucker is doing 3 players. Why? Bring 4 players in.
Yeah, we've railed against this for ages. Me and Alan were talking about it. It's like, why suddenly did they go, hey, you can have 2 friends, and that's your fucking limit. You're not allowed anyone else.
I know. I just don't understand it. But anyway, it's looking spectacular. And again, day 1 on Game Pass is just hugely exciting. And Jamie, I think we're going to have such a blast with this game because of just the tone is super different. It reminds me of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, whether that's true or not, but that's just what I'm gravitating toward, because I kind of grew up in the 90s with the Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel and that kind of thing. Like, I want characters like Spike, to appear, like vampires that are not necessarily evil, but they clearly are really fucking evil, but they're also charming and endearing and super charismatic, and you kind of have to side with them. And I want the characters, like the really weird, funny characters that you just can't help but engage with. And this could be huge. This could be a really big tentpole game for Xbox. And of course, it's Bethesda's next big one. Bethesda Studios Arcane. And I'm just excited for it. I can't wait. And it's May 2nd is coming out. And we've lost Sarah, but she's going to hopefully dial back in as quick as she can. So at the moment, it's just me and Jamie. Jamie, tell me all about like how excited you are for Redfall.
It's absolutely, it's the kind of game I've wanted, the kind of game I've waited for, because obviously, you know me, I love co-op and adventure and insanity with buddies, obviously. But also, I was like, Buffy is still my favorite television show of all time. I absolutely adore. The first time I watched Buffy, I remember setting a tape to record it because I had heard it was good. Right? I thought a VHS tape, mind you, right? Back in the day. Right, so I set this tape up and to record it because I was going to be home late from school or whatever. It was on at 6 o'clock on BBC Two on whatever day. And I come rushing in and it's partway through recording. So I leave it and so about 7:30, I press play on my tape and watch the first episode of Buffy. And I watched it like 3 times. Just rewind, watch. Blown away by it. Best TV I'd ever seen. And to this day, I maintain my favorite TV show. Have there been better TV shows yet since? Probably. But I absolutely adored that whole feel of a gang coming together, the Scooby Gang coming together and fighting the big bad. It's awesome. And then you get to do it with this. But it looks so pretty. And it's weird. It's a weird mix. Like it's gorgeous, and they've got this whole the whole aesthetic nailed. But it's also like it's set in small town USA. Like it doesn't feel like it feels like an odd mix of not taking itself too seriously, and yet really taking the game seriously, which is nice. Like the story and that, there's going to be some. I think we were looking at some humor, and again, very Buffy-esque, very Angel, very 90s TV show. That whole thing of like, hey, we've got a really dark tale to tell, but also we're going to have that episode where someone gets turned into a duck, and you're like, what the fuck? So, and it just makes you laugh. So, and like you said, and characterizations, like with Buffy, you definitely had, like you said, Spike. Who there's some dark crap in there with that too as well. I'm not going into any of it, but still brilliant character transferred across to Angel. Everyone loved him. Angel ends up doing an episode where they all get turned into Sesame Street puppets. This is my point. That you need the mix.
Once More
And
with
from what
Feeling,
I-
Jamie, the
Oh.
musical episode.
Honestly, I got asked recently what my favourite musical was, and I said, "Oh, that'd be the musical episode of Buffy." And they're like, "I'm sorry." I was like, "Yeah, oh yeah, yeah."
What are you talking about? What?
I cross genres with musicals. Like Heather's great, Singing in the Rain great, but do you know what? It's the musical episode of Buffy or bust. I want nothing to do with anything else. So, but yeah, it's just everything about it looks interesting, and it gives me. There's a series called Haven, which I don't know who's watched it. But Haven's really good, but it's based around a Stephen King premise. But that's set on a small island community. And they've got what they call the Troubles, and it's just these superpowered type people who keep turning up and causing problems. And another big favorite of mine, like obviously Supernatural, I love, and anything like that. I like the Supernatural, the paranormal, and things like that. And all of it kind of pops into my head when I've watched the Redfall trailer, just in little bits. It's just I feel like there's going to be an awful lot of my moments I've had watching those shows where I'm like, oh, I wish I could do that, and I'm going to be like, I'm going to get to do that, and I'm going to have friends, probably only 2 of them, because God knows we're not allowed any more than that. But although I have. When you asked that, I did bring up the notes that I was looking at before, which it was to do with the different editions and things like that. And in there, it does say experience Redfall solo or with up to 3 friends.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so 4 players. Excellent. Is there any word on crossplay with PC and console? I hope so. Come on. Please tell me.
I would imagine PC and console. Probably, because I think most things that hit Games Pass and are coming from, like, generally speaking, they are automatically PC and console.
Yeah.
Or at least PC and Xbox, I should say. So, and I'm hoping, because it's a big one, given the caliber of the studio, I would hope that it's going to be.
Yeah, because then we can play together, and that would be amazing. You know, vampire hunting nights.
I'm sure it will be.
I just can't wait to see the full scope of this game. Like I want to see the full map scope of all of the different locations, all of the different little boroughs and things like that, all of the characters, and already the skill trees look super impressive, really well fleshed out. You can go, I think there's like supernatural abilities for a particular class, or there's the techie engineer class where you've got UV grenades and things like that, and there's obviously going to be like a soldier type class, I would imagine. I'm really looking forward to it. It's jumped up my wish list quite significantly after this last little deep dive trailer playthrough that we got to see at the showcase. And before it was like, this looks really interesting, but I'm not sure. I need to see more about it. And now it's like, okay, it's a lot of like really good, strong narrative motivations, but you can drop in, drop out co-op. I'm hoping that's the situation anyway. And it just looks just a lot of fun. And in a way where, like, Back 4 Blood and Left 4 Dead didn't quite grab... Oh, Back 4 Blood, I should say. Left 4 Dead back in the day was obviously amazing, but Back 4 Blood maybe didn't quite grab me the way Left 4 Dead did back in the day, whereas Redfall feels like it's going to scratch that itch, but also give you so much more, like, narrative context, world-building context, missions, just fleshing out the world and more interesting activities rather than survive this horde of zombies that are coming at you.
Yeah.
So hugely excited for it. Hugely excited. Anyway, so very quickly before we go on to a special game that got shadow dropped, they also did a bit of a deep dive on Forza Motorsport. Now, we've chatted about racing games kind of in the past. None of us are hardcore racing fans, but we are big fans of Forza Horizon. It is much more of an open world, sandboxy, arcadey take on the Forza formula, which is amazing. This is their return to proper hardcore circuit racing. It's always been the competitor to Gran Turismo. So depending on what side of the fence you're on, plenty of players, millions of players prefer Gran Turismo. Millions of players prefer Forza Horizon. It is the Sega Nintendo going at it, battling which one's better kind of toxicity and like who's going to win, Superman or Batman? This kind of conversation, right? So I really like Forza because I always felt that the AI just felt better. Gran Turismo, although I haven't played much of the latest one, always felt a little bit too rubber bandy. Like you would get really far away and then all of a sudden the AI is like right behind you and overtaking you. And that's what we mean by rubber band AI. Whereas Forza always felt a little bit more organic, a little bit more kind of believable with their horrible name, but their Drivatar system, if you remember back a few couple of games ago, Jamie. Talk about marketing shit buzzwords like Drivatar. Yeah.
Cringed my soul clean out of my body.
I know. But it looks amazing. And the tech specs that they dropped sound spectacular. So they're going full 4K 60 with ray tracing on track. And those two words, or one word hyphenated, on track, is significant because Gran Turismo does not have ray tracing on track. It only has the ray trace reflections in the replay mode. So if you're doing a replay, it will look dazzling and it'll look fantastic and you get amazing screenshots and videos. But as you're playing the game, it doesn't have ray tracing. Forza says, fuck you, GT. We're bringing the ray tracing on track as you're whipping around the track at 60 frames per second in 4K, no less. So this has the potential to be an absolute powerhouse on a technical front. And of course, all these are coming to Game Pass, so it's the proverbial free, even though it's not really free. It's like kind of free. If you get Game Pass for one game, you're getting all this other stuff for free, bundled in. And it just looks amazing. They're obviously going to town with the vehicle degradation, like the paint scratches and the dings and everything like that. As they say in the racing world, rubbing is racing, and there's going to be a lot of rubbing on track going on to get your vehicle all dinged up, covered in dirt and flies on the windscreen and all this kind of stuff. And just on a technical level, it looks fucking incredible. Really good. And I'll be jumping in for probably a couple of races and then I'll bounce probably. But for those couple of races, guys, I'll be like, holy crap, I'm driving a Porsche and this is amazing. Okay, now I'm going back to Redfall. Things like that. But yeah, it looks visually incredible.
Yeah, it's my take on Forza has always been, it's like I'm hugely impressed by everything they do. And they have been absolutely like leaps and bounds ahead of the game and pushing the envelope of what they can do graphically for years. And they've obviously got a hell of a team there. And kudos, and I'm happy for everyone who wants to play it. It's purely a personal preference thing for me. It's just I don't really get that into racing games. But I'll probably do the same as you, Ross. Like, I'll download that couple of 100 gigs of game. I'll sit there, play it, and I'll be like, this is fucking amazing. Look how fast I'm going. And I haven't got a gun and there's nothing to shoot. And I'm not building anything with Lego. No.
Where's my rocket launchers that come out of the hood of the car? Like, where's my monster truck tires that I can rampage through the buildings? No, Jamie, that's Fortnite. That's Fortnite.
Yeah. I play games for an escape from reality. I can go around in a circle in a car in reality. Well, no, I mean, I shouldn't. It'd be illegal. I haven't got a license, but that's neither here nor there. That just adds to the excitement. But I don't tend to go for stuff that's based on. It's the same reason that I'm not big into heavy sort of simulator play of sports games, like football games, stuff like that. It's just like things like that don't particularly they don't spark joy, sure. So that's but that's just because that's for me. So for others who enjoy them, I'm very happy that they get a really good version of that thing that makes them happy. And Forza looks absolutely incredible. Like, it's gorgeous. So it'd be interesting to see what people think.
So the last one that they showed off, which I've got to admit, I can't believe that they just dropped this. And what a way to do it. They showed off this game from Tango Gameworks. Now, if anybody who's unaware of who Tango Gameworks were, I wasn't that familiar with them. But as it turns out, they are the developers behind the Evil Within games, like really good, solid horror games. And they also did Ghostwire Tokyo, which was the PlayStation 5 exclusive This came out last year. I believe that's going to be making its way to Xbox at some point, but who knows when. Again, very kind of supernatural, spooky, first person, doing your like Doctor Strange casting of spells and things like that. It looked pretty awesome, and I think it resonated quite well with a lot of players. But then, out of freaking nowhere, guys, they drop Hi-Fi Rush. And I've got to say, it's January and we're already looking at this game as one of the best of the year. Because I've been playing it for a couple of hours, and what a breath of fresh air. What a surprise. I can't believe they just said, oh, by the way, you can play this right now, get downloading it. I thought the entire Xbox infrastructure was just going to come crashing down because everybody's hitting the store at the same time to download this. So for those who don't know, Hi-Fi Rush is a anime cel-shaded third-person rhythm game that looks like a cross between Sunset Overdrive and Jet Set Radio. It is the quality of the animation is unbelievably high bar. Like I would love to watch a full animation show of this universe that they have created because it looks just so amazing. So vibrant. It's think Into the Spider-Verse, Jamie, but then put to a video game. It's all of those visual effects, those like print visual effects that you see, and then oh my god, it's fucking amazing. And the music is so good. And I've been playing it on what's called a streamer mode. And again, I love the fact that they've done this. So they know that everybody's going to want to pick this up and get it, sharing it on the YouTube for their clips or on Twitch for live streams and whatnot. So they switch out the music, kind of like what Guardians of the Galaxy did. Get rid of all the licensed stuff, and then they make original music from bands that I guess the studio owned or commissioned. I don't really know. But the music that is switched out for for their own music is really good. It is really catchy and really good. So everything in the world corresponds to the beat, right? So the cadence or the locomotion of your character, his footsteps are to the beat, right? So every footstep is to the beat as he's moving, as he's hopping and stuff like that. And as he's idle, he's like snapping his fingers like to the beat, and you can't help but just get whipped up into this head bob. Fuck yeah, I'm bopping, I'm grooving, I'm loving this, I'm loving it. And you're just getting swept up into the rhythm of it. And now the great thing is obviously they're aware that not everybody is great at finding the beat or finding the rhythm for these games. So no matter what your inputs are as such, I think the game kind of does a little bit of, like if you're hitting the button too early and it's off the beat of the music, I think there's a little bit of a delay or a syncing motion going on that it will make your character swing his weapon to the beat. So even if you totally are horrible at missing not being able to find that rhythm, the game kind of does a lot to compensate, I think. But if you hit the perfect beat, the perfect timing, then you'll get like a bonus and you'll get like the S counter like in Devil May Cry and things like that. And like there's dodging, which I think when you dodge, there's like a cymbal crash, like a hi-hat cymbal crash. So when you're doing your combos and you're beating up all the enemies, you're like making music, like you're making different drum beats and cymbal crashes and things. So you're like making these tunes, and it is such an amazing surprise, and it just is, it's great. I can't praise it enough so far, but I'm only early days at it. But the humor and the tone is so on point. It's just a lot of fun, and I can't recommend it enough to anybody who's got Game Pass. There's no excuse. Get downloaded. Just check it out. Play the first half hour, and you'll be like, this is fucking amazing. It's so good, and it's so different. And what a breath of fresh air for the Xbox library to... Like, we never got a Sunset Overdrive 2. This is the closest we're probably going to ever get to that, because Insomniac are now bought and paid for by Sony. So I assume Sony now own the Sunset Overdrive IP. So we'll probably never get that. But this is like, okay, I'll take this. I'll take this as a sequel of sorts, even though it's nothing to do with that universe. But it's It's so good. And remember way back, guys, when I was talking about Nier Automata and the different camera shifting for the different types of gameplay. So at one point it would be a third-person game, then it would pan over to like a top-down shooter, then it would pan to the side, it'd be like a side-scroller. So there's one bit that I've come across so far, very early game, that the camera goes into a side-scroller, and it's like Metroid or something like that. And it's the same art style and the same visual effects and everything, same moves, but then it goes into like a 2D scroller and a platformer, like Mario or something. And then it goes back to third person. So I don't know if that carries on throughout the entirety of the game, but already yes, they mixed it up. They mixed up the gameplay just at this little bit where I'm thinking, when I thought I understood this is a third person rhythm game, okay, I understand that. And now it went 2D side scroller platformer. And then back to 3D open world kind of thing, and the colors are so pop-arty and colorful and vibrant, but then marrying it with the music, and when the environment, like platforms will up, you know how in our traditional 3D platforming games, you'll get a platform and then it will disappear and it will come back again.
Yep.
You jump on it. You've got like a few seconds before the platform disappears, and you have to jump off it. Mm-hmm. So when the platforms appear, everything, like the level assembles itself in the beat to the music. Like it's all around the beat of the music, and it's just so cool. Good. And then there's like combos you can do, but again, going back to chaining together light attacks and heavy attacks and dodging to add in like extra percussion beats and things like that to the music. It's so good. It's like so addictive as well. And even if you don't care about your ranking, like your combat ranking for a C rank or an S rank, doesn't matter. I was having so much fun. Just like I was smiling the whole way. And what a little banger of a game. Like it just came out of nowhere. Say, hey guys, this is our game. And we're like, okay, we're going to get a little surprise deep dive trailer. Gameplay is maybe going to come 2024. And then they say, actually, you guys, you can play it right now. And that strategy does not work for every single game. And I've seen a lot of stuff online about every indie should do this. No, this only works because Bethesda were backing it. Xbox were backing it. They presented it on their developer direct. So millions of people are tuning in for it.
Yep.
And because it's already funded by Bethesda and by Xbox, I don't even know if they're even bothered about sales numbers. So it's a unicorn kind of moment for this particular game. It only works for this game. It doesn't work it's not a viable strategy for every single game. Don't just shadow drop your game and say, guys, come and buy my game. It's out now. Yeah, nobody will turn up. So, I mean, such a surprise, and what a way to start the year. Anyway, I'm gushing like a fucking idiot about this game. I need to hand it over to you guys. Take over. Have either of you had a look at Hi-Fi Rush yet?
No.
Head shakes and whoa. You have to now. Have I whipped you up into a frenzy that you're now going to be checking it out? That's what I need to know.
Yeah. Absolutely you have. It's your enthusiasm is infectious.
Oh, you'll love it. If you like really clever writing, like humor that's just like silly but kind of clever and fun, then you'll just be whipped up into it. And there's a little robot cat. So for all the cat people out there, you're
I love that.
You're going to be sold. You're going to be totally sold on it. And I mean, I don't want to spoil too much, but just the whole tone and the vibe of the world will hook you. And the gameplay will click, even if you're not like a rhythm game person. Stick with it, and I think you'll be really surprised. And I would be shocked if, when it comes to the end of the year, it doesn't get a honorable mention at the very least, because, we're only in the first month of the year. There's so many bangers that are waiting to come out, and even the ones that we don't even know about yet. It's too obviously early to say, this is clearly the front runner for Game of the Year. That's maybe a little bit ridiculous. But at the same time, what a bar to set in January already. Goddamn, guys. Goddamn.
Yeah. It looks so pretty as well, doesn't it?
It is.
Like the images that I've seen from it are, that whole cell shading thing is so great, isn't it? It's such a pretty way of animating I mean, I'm just having a look at little screenshots of it now going, I can't wait to play this. If I had my rig with me, that would be exactly what I would be doing. But yes, alas, I'm going to have to wait till I get back home. But yeah, you've absolutely made me want to play it.
The snippets I saw look awesome. And
yeah,
it's so pretty. Like it's just pretty. So I'm definitely going to give it a whirl as soon as I find time to dust off something else from the pile of shame. But I love the beat concept though. That was the bit, because even playing, I haven't played yet, but I was watching Alan play. Is it Helsing? Which is again attacks time to beat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And even that
Metal Helsinger. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I know that's my style of music as well. Obviously, like people screaming at each other in a mosh pit is my kind of jam. But so I'm sat there listening, like watching him play, but listening to it, and I'm getting caught up in the music from that. So yeah, it's absolutely on the list and will be played reasonably soon, I should hope.
Yeah, Metal Hellsinger is one of those ones where that's why I mention if the rhythm of the beat you can't find it and you find it hard to really click with. Like usually I'm pretty okay with rhythm-based games. Like I love my Guitar Hero and things like that, but I wanted to really enjoy Metal Hellsinger, but I could not get the beat down for some reason. I don't know if it was because it was a first-person shooter and my old muscle memory was just playing it like a shooter and I could never get the beat, and I couldn't click with it. But this game, because it's much more of a brawler, I guess, and you can see your character like swinging and dodging, for some reason, for me anyway, this one is clicking much more with syncing up the rhythm and finding that beat with your jumping and jumping into the beat. Like you find yourself waiting to jump until the beat comes up because you want to time it, and it just feels weird to jump randomly. But yeah, highly recommend at the very least just checking it out and see what you think of it. I'll be expecting next week's deep dive, like impressions from each of you, to find out if you've had it. Well, no, maybe not Sarah because you can't, but Jamie, I'm going to be calling on you.
I will do my homework. I will download
it. Okay, next topic, folks. It's a horror extravaganza. It is Dead Space Remake, and I feel for Sarah because I know how desperately you want to play this, and well, that is your own fucking fault, lady, for going off to New Zealand without your PlayStation 5, and that serves you right for having fun, for going out touching the grass rather than staying indoors and being a hobbit in your little hobbit hole with your PlayStation 5.
That's fair enough. I'll take that. I genuinely did say to Connor when we were packing, I was like, is it ludicrous to put the PS5 in here? Because we haven't used our full luggage allowance, so I think we should put it in. And he was like, no. So if anything, we're blaming Connor for this. I'm so jealous. Tell me all about it so I can sit here and go, I want to play.
Well,
oh my goodness.
Let me say that just on a core visual experience, the first thing you obviously see is the crew coming in through space and seeing the Ishimura with the planet behind it in space, and everything from the very beginning, like the presentation of the first game, it was seminal. It was a massive shakeup for the survival horror genre back in 2008 when it came out, and the presentation of this game is so top tier. Like the graphics and the detail that they've invested into it's on the same bar as Resident Evil 2 Remake or Shadow of the Colossus or like Demon Souls Remake and things like that. It is up there as one of the best examples of what a remake can and should be. And that's probably the highest praise. And it's got a bunch of different modes. It's got the fidelity mode, which is, I think it's like the native 4K. I don't know if there's like ray tracing or anything like that, but anyway, it's like super crispy sharp. And that's, I think, locked at 30 frames per second. But then the performance mode is the full 60 at, I believe, 1440p. So it's a little bit, if you're playing on a 4K screen like I am, especially with a computer monitor, you notice that it is a little bit softer, but it's still visually amazing. And it's running super smooth. I didn't notice any problems at all on the technical side. I'm playing on the Series X, and I was just saying to myself on stream and to the audience, this feels amazing at 60 frames per second. Like, when those necromorphs are shambling towards you out of the shadows, and it's so smooth to then just like pick off their limbs, having that extra FPS and the smoothness of the high frame rate, it feels so good. So good to control. Now, let's talk about the necromorphs themselves, because I'm not kidding you. Back in the original, I'm trying to remember the limitations of the 360 at the time. I think when you chopped off their limbs, it was more like just blowing like chunks off. You know, like it would just like drop off like large sections of the body. Now, guys, I am not kidding you. So I think it's like I'm playing on medium difficulty. It's 2 shots to sever the leg, okay, or sever the arm. The first shot, I'm not kidding you, it flays the skin off the bone. Like, you can see the skin just getting sheared off the bone, and then the bone is exposed with some muscle, sinew, and everything like that. And then the second one will shatter the bone. Like, this is the detail we're talking about here.
Jesus.
You can literally see. I mean, it's gross to describe it, but it's also like, I want to do that again. I want to start flaying the skin of these creatures. Yeah, like a psycho. And when they're coming out of the shadows, again, this is what we talked about a couple episodes ago about, yeah, but the draw distance is so pushed out now. Is it still going to be terrifying if I can see the necromorph way in the distance? The game is so dark that they have managed to marry that extra level of detail that's pushed way out, but still capture the dark, shambling, like shadows, shafts of light, and then you'll see an arm come up, and you're like, oh fuck, something's coming out of that. It's like that strobing effect that you get like in a tunnel, and then you see the strobe effect and something like moving, almost like stop motion, because it's like the flashing of the strobe effect is what's illuminating, and that's the only time you see it. So there's moments like that as well, and I have to say, it is just as unnerving, scary as the original was back in the day. Like, they've done such an amazing job elevating every asset, improving I guess the gameplay, but at the same time, I can't remember how the original plays, but I don't know if they've drastically changed the gameplay. I'll need to go back and play it, because it feels really good. Like, Isaac's movement feels really fluid, and I can't remember if he was this nimble or if they've added his, if they've changed his gameplay or not. But anyway, you've got the massive AoE foot stomp that's still there, which is such a still a joy to use. Is brilliant. And you've got obviously the plasma cutter, which is the OG the weapon. You've got the stasis thing, you've got the telekinesis to pick things up and throw. And I love that they've now changed up the level design to make the Ishimura feel much more seamless, like one complete place, one living, breathing environment. Whereas it was much more kind of levels in the first one, that you were separated by the tram system. Now you can literally walk like from one end to the other, and backtrack with no real limitations anymore. Whereas it was segregated out by loading screens. Now, it really, really is. And I'm obviously not there yet to open up the other sections of the game, but if you're a horror fan, like, this is it. This is such a great remake, and it does justify the cost. It's expensive for sure, but it does justify the cost because it does feel so fresh. And I was chatting to some other friends about this, and it is a shame to say it, but the Callisto Protocol actually feels like, how do I phrase this? So the Dead Space remake feels like the sequel that improves so much over the original, whereas if Callisto Protocol feels like a precursor to Dead Space. Whereas, if that makes sense, I'm not really doing a really good job of explaining what I'm trying to mean here. Like, when you make a sequel to a game and you improve everything so much that that's the sequel, and everything is better and everything is more polished, that's what Dead Space remake feels like to the Callisto Protocol. And that is bizarre. That is crazy to think that. Now, that's obviously doing a little bit of injustice to the Callisto Protocol because the graphics and presentation there are seriously top tier. They're amazing. But playing Dead Space still feels so much more innovative with the dismemberment system, with the HUD, with the way audio diaries work, things like that. And of course, the fully seamless world of the Ishimura, where you can backtrack, you can open up doors, Metroidvania style, where you now have access to different security clearance doors, and that you can now unlock. You can go back and open up other parts of the ship. It feels so much more than what the 2008 was, and that is huge. Like, they've added to it, they've enhanced it, and then they've just added to it to make it like the best version of Dead Space. Whereas Callisto is very linear. There's no reason to backtrack, which why that feels like this is like the first iteration, and then Dead Space is like, this is what we really want to do with a sequel. And that's just bizarre to even think and say that. It's so weird. And it's such a shame on Callisto that they didn't land it. But anyway, this is about Dead Space. So let's stay focused, Ross. Stay focused on Dead Space. So highly praise it. I recommend to anybody who's even interested in this game, or if you love the first game, this is the return of Dead Space that we didn't think we were going to get. And if this opens up the door to a sequel or a reboot or bringing the franchise back, that would be amazing. Or upgrade Dead Space 2 and release that as well, and then maybe look at revitalizing the franchise with new characters. But the necromorphs are such a good enemy. Like, they don't feel like the traditional zombies. They feel like something really alien and mutated and disgusting. And the way they move and the way they are, I guess, created from people in the Ishimura, mutated and stuff like that, still feels fresh. Whereas other horror games, when they go the zombie route, it feels lackluster. It doesn't really kind of engage you as much. And again, going back to the dismemberment system, it's on the player then to choose how they're going to dismember them. And that will always feel fresh. It will never feel like old or tired, because maybe I'm used to chopping off the legs, but maybe this time I'll go for the arms rather than the legs. Again, it's on the player's agency to choose how they're going to attack a combat encounter. And it still feels fresh even to this day. Even for by modern game standards, it feels fresh. And that's fantastic. And what a great game. Sarah, I can't wait for you to get home and play this game, because you're going to be geeking out and having a lot of fun. And I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Anyway, Jamie, are you excited? You love Dead Space as well, right?
I love what I played of it. I dabbled with Dead Space back in the day. I haven't, I didn't complete it. I can't remember why. I think it was genuinely just one of those, another game came out and you've got to go play that because everyone else is playing it. Yeah. So, but loved what I played of it. Love, like you said, the Necromorphs are a new take on an old classic, because they're zombies. I tend to lump stuff into one type when it comes to, overall sort of thing for ease of explanation to people. It's like, yeah, it's kind of a zombie, right? But it doesn't do it justice to call it kind of a zombie, because it's not quite that, that same old shambling wearing a flannel shirt.
Yeah.
It's much more. There's an insidiousness to the necromorph. There's like something that sort of gets into you. It's like, ugh. It gives you that little back of the neck shiver.
Yep.
And which is what you want when you're playing a horror game. That is 100% what you want from it. The last thing you want is to sit there and be bored and going, yeah, more zombies, come on, wave after wave, fuck it, whatever. Swinging a sword, that's fun too in a different game setting. But for something like Dead Space has that alien, Sigourney Weaver first movie Alien feel, that space horror, and you've got that, but with this creepy ass, sneaky, slimy. Oh, I love it. And you mentioned the dismemberment. That's something that, and I'm going to sound like a complete lunatic here, but I will absolutely claim that a game can live or die on how good it is at letting me cut bits off people.
You maniac. Oh my goodness,
Yeah,
you psycho.
it doesn't sound good at first, but it's because I go back to, I remember Soldier of Fortune on PC, which is one of the first games that said, it's got realistic hit points and you can blow people's arms and legs off and stuff.
Yep.
And it did. I could shoot someone in the chest, you saw chest damage. I shot them in the arm came off. Now, admittedly, the arm always came off no matter what you shot them with and where in the arm you shot them, so it wasn't perfect, but it was many, many years ago now. And it's not that I'm saying every game needs to let me cut people into tiny ribbons. I'm saying if you tell me I can, I want it to work well, otherwise it just kind of, I could jib in Quake, back in the which is one of my favorite things ever. Was the jibbing, mechanics were great, but the fact that when you said there were the exposed sinew and stuff like that, I'm like, it does. It sounds awful and gross, and I want to do that so bad. So. Because you're telling me I can. That's the thing. If a game's going to say you can do that, I'm going to, and I'm going to find various ways to do it, and I'm going to want every kill to be something spectacular now. So I'm very hyped to play it. Like I said, I did very much enjoy the original. It's just been a lot of years, and I hadn't played it all the way through. So this is my chance, hopefully, to get that story. And I can't believe that guy from Fortnite got his own game. Because Isaac's now in Fortnite, so
I know it's scary the amount of spin-offs that Fortnite has managed to create for all of these characters.
Impressive,
right? It's impressive.
Little battle royale out of nowhere. What a Cinderella story.
So Sarah, before you sadly got disconnected there, we were just saying I can't wait for you to get home and be able to play this, and we can geek out over.
Oh my goodness!
Over this game.
Honestly, when we were talking about what we were most excited for this year, this was the top one, and I was like, oh my god, I can't wait to play it. And then I realized it was coming out right when we were in New Zealand. I went, okay. Again, is it unreasonable to put my PlayStation in my suitcase, or is it reasonable to change our entire plans? But yes, no, unfortunately we will have to wait. But it's just really exciting to see that it's done so well, because I think after Callisto Protocol, I mean, obviously I don't want to compare them as well, but it's kind of hard not to. After that didn't do so well, considering the hype for it was so good, and all the lead up and the podcast that they did for it was really good as well, it just felt like it was going to be amazing, and then it wasn't what we were expecting. I'm just glad that this has actually met expectations, and I think in some cases probably surpassed expectations. Some people have been complaining about it being too dark, and I'm like, I think I'll be all right.
It's
dark and spooky. Let's do it.
You can drop and boost the brightness for sure, but the fact that it is super dark is the whole point. Like when you aim, you've got the flashlight. When you don't aim, you don't have a flashlight. So it adds to the atmosphere, and you can. And another thing that we haven't talked about is the audio design in this game. It is so good. Again, I can't remember the benchmark of the first game, but this new one, they've obviously redone everything, and the audio is really good. I'm just going to leave it there to say that it's really good. All of the sounds, all of the shambling noises, the sound of something pressing against metal in the vents, that kind of stuff. You just hear it in the walls, kind of thing, right? It's really good. So I don't have a 3D headset, but I can imagine, if you're lucky enough to own one of those 3D Pulse headsets that give you surround sound situational audio, this could be quite an experience, especially if you're playing with the lights off and you get tunnel vision because you're sitting so close to the screen with the 3D audio. I remember back in the day, a flatmate of mine was playing Doom 3 on the Xbox, the OG Xbox, with the lights out, with his headphones on, and this was just stereo at the time, and one of us came in, turned the lights on, and he absolutely fucking jumped like crazy. He was like shaking, from the tension when he took his headphones down. And he was just face was pale because he was playing Doom 3, I should say. with like such tunnel vision and so immersed. And I was like, mate, you need to just like take a break, I think, because you don't look good. You look like you've succumbed to the depths of hell and you've been indoctrinated or something. Like, you look like you need to take a moment and just step away, get some fresh air, maybe come back to it.
Oh.
I know, God. Anyway, last topic, then we'll wrap up and let everybody get away. Goldeneye is back. I wondered if this was ever actually going to be possible to bring it back on the Switch or on the Xbox, because not necessarily the argument over ownership, because who owns it now? Because it came out on the Nintendo, but Xbox own Rare now, but it's the James Bond license, so that's a whole other legal can of worms. Anyway, the powers that be have managed to get it to work, and it is on Xbox and it is on the Nintendo Switch, and This is something that is super weird. And I want to throw it to both of you. We're in the year 2023. We have GoldenEye N64. We have Dead Space. We have, or about to have, Resident Evil 4. What the fuck is going on? What is going on?
Time has shattered. We are in an alternate timeline now where all things are coming back to us. Could not be happier.
It really is, and I love the fact that people are jumping on to saying, "Why is this a classic? This is horrible. You weren't there, man. You didn't play it with an N64 controller with one analog stick, and it was the 3 prongs. You weren't there. You don't understand." But man, we had such good times playing that. We used to play all through the night playing multiplayer, odd job, slappers only, all this kind of stuff.
Yes. we banned Odd Job. We actually banned Odd Job and Knick Knack because they were too short and the actual hitboxes were smaller. So you come out of the corner and go, "Gotcha, you bat!" And then you fire a headshot over into the wall behind and get shot. So we banned Odd Job and Knick Knack. But we used to play on a screen. That's probably a 17-inch screen. 4 of us sat around with my mates like that. I'm pretty sure I can see I don't know what I'm shooting at, but it's something. And had the best time. GoldenEye, hands down, one of the good campaign too. Like, decent campaign. I don't whatever anyone says, it was fun.
Yeah.
And people playing it these days are kind of judging it by modern era, which doesn't work.
It does not work. No.
So, but no, just such a game. Like, just honest to God, GoldenEye's just fucking stellar.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait to play more of it. I'm really, really hyped to play more of GoldenEye. And I'm hoping, and we went from GoldenEye to Perfect Dark. And that was a ramping up, and all of these things. Just GoldenEye, man. It's so good.
I know. What's amazing actually is if you've got the Xbox version, so it's part of the Rare Replay collection now that you can just get it for free, or I think you can buy it separately. But Xbox being Xbox, they've improved the controls so you can use the dual analog sticks rather than the single analog stick, which is totally awesome. I'm definitely going to be doing that. But you can also play it in 4K. They've upscaled it to 4K. But this is where they give you a lot of kind of good stuff and then they take something away. Only the Switch version has the multiplayer. What the frig is that all about? The platform that has the worst infrastructure for multiplayer gets the multiplayer for GoldenEye. Get that over to Xbox. Come on. That would be amazing.
I'm hoping that's a timed thing and that it's coming.
I hope so.
It better be, because realistically, I mean, that's a massive shoot yourself in the foot moment, isn't it? You don't take a game like GoldenEye. You say, right, we're going to release. We want to get some of that nostalgia money and really get people talking. Now, what can we do? People are quite big on GoldenEye, sir. GoldenEye, yes. And why did they play that for? The strong solo story? No. Well, we'll give them the strong solo story. But what if they want to play with friends? They can get fucked. I'm like, okay, thank you. That's great. So, yeah. Bad move.
I'm sure it will come. Like, I mean, I really enjoyed the campaign as well, though, because it followed the movie like so closely.
Yeah.
And I remember being blown away by, it's like, oh my god, that's Pierce Brosnan. Oh my god, that's Sean Bean. Like their faces are all polygon and it looks awful.
I was
at the time.
so impressed by that.
Yeah, I can't believe like that we've got it back. We've got it back, and like the difficulty settings were so innovative. Back then, you increased the difficulty up to like 007 or Special Agent or Double Agent, I think it was called, and then it would add new objectives, and that was never done before. It would give you optional objectives or extra things like you have to steal intel or you have to plant intel or different things to make the missions harder, rather than saying we're playing on hard. That means that the enemies are tougher or there's more enemies or you're weaker. That feels like such a cop-out compared to Goldeneye and then ultimately Perfect Dark as well, where it took the difficulty settings. I say, no, we're just going to give you more challenging things to accomplish for your objectives on the hardest difficulty setting. So clever, and I wish that kind of game design would come back, because I can't think of any modern games that take that approach to their difficulty settings. I really can't think of anything. Maybe there is. Let me know in the comments. I could have got it totally wrong, but off the top of my head, I can't think of anything. But GoldenEye, what a moment for our childhood. What a moment for the industry, proving that a console FPS is actually not just doable, immensely popular and immensely successful. Gosh, God, what a moment. Anyway. That is a wrap on episode 92 of the Weekend Catch Up Club podcast. Thank you so much for those who are tuning in, whether you are an audio listener or a video listener as well. Great times. Great fun chatting with me amigos again, as always. We'll be back next week. Sarah's going to be incognito, away off in a hobbit hole somewhere in New Zealand. So we'll try and get the three of us back together for next week's episode, but it may just be myself and Jamie. We'll see what we can work out. Until then, folks, take care and happy gaming. Bye-bye.